This is going to help you immensely long term. And there's things you can do down here that you can't do anywhere else. So if everybody would make a selection, you know, something like a 5 by 5 by 5, something like this, and then drag it up just a hair off the ground. Everybody should be able to do it here because it is, you know, quite a bit up into the air. But make you a little 5 by 5 by 5, and we're going to kind of go over the first thing that I like considered to be okay. Not a problem, Woot. Not a problem. If you miss this little portion, it's okay. It's nothing major, but this is something that everybody needs to kind of be familiarized with, because this right here is going to help your build really stand out compared to what, you know, you would be doing if you were using nothing but regular voxels. Okay, this is putty voxel. We're going to make a putty voxel, and we're going to be just using a 5 by 5 by 5 underneath the ground to do this. We make our selection, and now we're going to select Hill Tool. And you'll know you're on Hill Tool because it's green, okay? And take that Hill Tool and click the box, like so, okay? Alright, not a problem there, Woot, not a problem. But we're going to make these boxes like this, and this is kind of the basics of putty voxels, and having a good putty voxel is always preferable. So I'll let Hilly get set up here, and let her get her box down, and we will kind of go at it, okay? But like I said, putty voxels are really freaking important, because it will solve a lot of problems that you will run into with other stuff, okay? And like I said, this is what I consider a basic, because without this, a lot of things can't be done. Okay, so Hilly, just grab you a spot somewhere, make you a 5 by 5 by 5, and hill it. Okay, now we have quite a few people here, which is freaking awesome. And just so y'all know, I will be making a group, and if you want to be a part of my group, as soon as they get this patch in and we get back in the game, hit me up. I'm going to build this group, and it's going to be pretty much a big neutral group type deal. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it's going to be neutral. If anything, it may be neutrality. I don't know. Or I might just go with the lethality name and just run with it, just because I am a member of lethality. I don't know, because we got a bunch of members, but we're going to figure it out. I like staying neutral though, so. But we have this box now, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to grab right in the center here, and with your mouse held down with your selection tool, just drag it across the top to the center on the top, like that, okay? Awesome, Apothecary, awesome. Like, I was a part of Sinister Swarm, and that was my primary guild, and you know, we had like 4 people that came over, and now it's just down to me. So I don't know, they like their hardcore PvP stuff. Okay, and let me make sure everybody's got their little selections, and it does look like that, so we're good. Now with this little selection right here, grab that top section and push it down until it's a 1 by 1 by 3. So literally we have this kind of setup. What's up, Chris Orr? Feel free to come on in and kind of catch up to where we are if you would like. Yeah, But that's lethality, by the way. I think that's the correct link. I think they're in the process of changing website, so I'm really not sure. I hardly ever go up there myself, even though I am a member of it. But just because I'm always busy doing other stuff. So, but we have this 1 by 1 by 1 by 3 selection here, and what I want you to do is I want you to go into your materials, go into dirt, right here, dirt, and select stuccoed wall. Okay? And then I want you to paint that selection. Just like that. Very simple. Alright. I'm going to run around. I'm going to take a look at everything. Grimm's still catching up. Chris Orr's still catching up. Kojin's on cue. Taladorn's good. Thornbrower's good. Hilly's good. Edwin's good. Rennan's good. Warwick's good. Zero's good. Natick is good. Caledonian's good, and Lindy is good. I mean, go ahead and make sure my people that have just arrived are good. Okay, you guys are back on cue. Okay, sweet. Everybody's caught up. Bam, we're good. Now, if I take a section of circle, I'm just going to use this. This is a rough looking circle, but I'm going to copy it anyway. And I'm going to pop this over here. Okay? V, and let me rotate. Don't worry about doing this, just kind of, you'll see why putty is so important. And somebody just followed and I missed it. Hold on a second. I'll catch the name in a moment. I don't want to like ignore my followers here, or my newer followers, so hopefully I can catch that. Or did I totally miss it anyway? Somebody followed. I heard it. Yep. I totally missed it. I apologize. I missed that follow. But thank you very much. Okay. The reason why putty is the way it is because this whole entire world, if we didn't touch it at all, we didn't put down a block anywhere, we didn't do anything to anything in here. Kujinas, thanks for the follow, welcome to the stream. But if we touch nothing in this world that we're standing in right now, everything is created by the server. So it's server generated voxels. Now these server generated voxels act differently than the voxels that we place down in the world. And the voxels are the little squares, okay? If I put something near one of those voxels, they react just totally different. And that's basically what we've just created. We've created server-generated voxels that are painted, and they have a color. And you can paint these things any color you want, but I'm using white just because it stands out and it'll look really good here on the screen. But if I take my selection and I do that whole entire selection phase over again, which is this, like so, I drop this down back to the way we had it before. Now when I painted that selection, it painted all of those voxels, even the ones you don't see. They're painted to that color. Now if I come here to the outside and I push this in to where it's in the very center of my block like this, and I do a Control-C to copy, that Control-C is going to take that server generated voxel, which we call putty voxels because of what it does, and I'm going to show you what it does here in a moment. But those putty voxels act differently than what a voxel does when you use your add tool. Okay, now if I use my add tool on this curved section here, you see that it distorts it, and those voxels that are curved basically react to it because it has dominance. Okay, with the putty voxels, it works in reverse. It means that whatever is already placed there has dominance. And when I paste this with a control V, V as in Victor, if I drop this putty voxel that I took from my little square over there and I put it next to this circle and I paste it, you see this has dominance. This what was already existing has the dominance, and this forms to it, so it literally works in reverse. So this is an add tool, and that is a putty voxel, and I can literally take this putty voxel, control V, and I can just go down the side of this curve here. Shimmy TV, welcome to the stream, thanks for the follow. But I can literally go down that edge of this thing and it will literally mold to that circle and it doesn't screw it up. But if I took my add tool and tried to do the same thing, it would do this. And this is pretty much the same pattern as what I just laid down, but you see the difference in between the two. What's up, Shimmy? Welcome back, man. The answer to that is no, Playtime. You cannot make a micro putty voxel because as soon as you use a smooth tool on it, as soon as you use any of your tools on that voxel, it will literally turn that voxel into a standard voxel, and it will react like every other voxel in the world. So, oh, okay, sorry. I apologize. But yes, you can template it, but you can't make it into a microvoxel. So, but yes, you can template these. Like literally right now, if you wanted to make this into a template, come back over to your square, grab here, drag it in, push this down, and then push that in so that you have that center selection and make a template. Okay, so if you guys want to do that now, feel free to do so. We'll wait a few moments, and basically we're going to use this in a little bit for something. Okay, and so we're going to all kind of do this together. And but the simple fact of the way these voxels work is pretty phenomenal because it literally opens up some doors that we didn't have before, especially when you're starting to use the smooth tool and you're around smoothed and curved objects and stuff like that. It gives you the ability to do some stuff that you couldn't do before. So yeah, it changes. Okay, the data stays the same, but the material on the database is the only thing that changes. It still sees it as that server generated data voxel. Okay, but if you make this into a template, all you got to do is open that template and bam, you've got, you know, you've got it right there. And hopefully I'm really hoping they give this as a tool or an option for the add tool, so you can literally check it or uncheck it, whether it's a server generated putty or whatnot. But I talked to Dave about it, and he never really gave me a definitive answer on that. So hopefully they will be giving that to us as something during SOE Live. That would be great. Okay. Don't worry about the numbering here because my toolbar may be different than yours. But I would love to have a putty voxel tool, you know, by itself. You know, I think that would be just wicked. But once everybody's good here, let's go back up top and everybody find their little square up here somewhere. and we're going to make something. I don't know what we're going to make, but we're going to make something up here, and we're going to be using various different little things that you can do inside the game, just to kind of get everybody kind of on track and learning some of this stuff that's maybe a little bit more advanced for some, maybe not so advanced for others, but it'll help you guys to catch up on some things that you may or may not have known. Putty voxels are very important to me because it is something that, you know, really is a basic for me. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I want everybody to take their selection tool like this, and I want you to bring this up and make you something like this, you know, just a long section of something like that, like this. And I want you to fill it with something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be stone, it could be whatever. I'm just going to make stone here. But don't worry about what it is, as long as it's something that's easy for you to see. That will be the best thing, okay? Now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take my smooth tool. I'm going to hit C. C as in Charlie, like this, big old C. Or like this, if it's reversed, I really can't tell. It's one or the other. But we're going to hit C on your keyboard, and we're going to bring up this smooth tool. And what I want you to do is just make it just big enough to go wide enough for your little thing. Hold Control, and I want you to tap it one time. And what it's going to do is, if you look at it, it's close enough here, it's kind of deformed it just a little bit, right? And you're getting this really funky shape on the side of this. And this is kind of what we're after, is just this funky look to a surface. Just hold Control and just tap it one time. There you go. You're good, there, Thorn. Let me make sure everybody's got to this level. Natica, unselect it and then hit it with your smooth and you'll be set. Lindy, you were good. I saw that. You were good here. We're on the smooth tool. Not the delete tool, but the smooth tool. It's the one that looks like a box in a circle. You're on delete still. It should look like this one right here. If you can see it here on the screen, it's at the very bottom. Just go with this, hit C, and then just, there you go. Lindy's on it now. All right. And just leave it a little smooth. That's all it needs. Because we're creating an issue. We're creating a problem with this, okay? And that way we have a block that has that little deformation in there, and we have a problem with it. It's not the way we want it, okay? And that's basically what we have created. We have, and you'll see this stuff all the time. Trust me, you will see it. If you have created smoothing on something, you're going to see this right here. This is what is called an artifact, okay? This artifacting is basically where the voxels, the texture on the voxels are doing this, and it's stretching that texture, okay? And I think almost everybody's at the key here. Natica's good. All you guys are good. Not sure what Warvox's doing over here. Let me see if he's got what he needs over here. Make you a selection like this, Warvox. Like this, and then fill that in with use the same texture as what Ren's got over there. Okay, Better yet, I'll go ahead and make one for you. We'll do like this, and I'll get you set up. That way you can actually see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to fill that in like that. Okay. Then go to your smooth tool, which is the square to the round circle looking tool. Come up on top like this. We're going to hold control, your control key, CTRL, it should be in your corner of your keyboard there, and we're going to tap it one time. Okay, and this is going to get us to this point. And Ren's good. He's got something that we can fix. I think everybody else is pretty much on cue here. So, okay, here we go. We're going to move on. It's okay, Warvog. I hooked you up over there. All you got to do is follow the next little step. This next step that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using what is called skeleton key. And I know this, it sounds fancy and all that kind of stuff, but it's just a really cool term of using your line tool in a sweeping motion. Okay, it's what I like calling it skeleton key because it fixes a lot of problems that you run into. Okay, and trust me, there are times when you use it, and of course there's times when you don't, but that's what the Control Z is for, to back out of it if it doesn't do what you want. Okay, but what I want you to do is literally take your line tool, and the line tool is the one that does, you know, this kind of stuff. This is the tool that I want you to be on. Okay, so be on this, and I want you to go onto the side like this of your piece, and I want you to go from one side to the other totally flat across that surface. You know, one surface has to be totally smooth all the way across for this to work here. But we're going to take that line tool and just drag it across, and we're going to click. And we're going to do this 2 or 3 times like so. And you're going to notice that that little artifacting is changing every time we kind of go across it, right? That's good, because basically we have basically just brung that surface back out a little bit. We're going to go across the top of it in the same fashion like this, and hopefully you can kind of see this here, from one side to the other. And if at all possible, do it on the bottom as well. And you'll see that it literally reverts those voxels back to the way they were before. Yeah. But you can see we've literally fixed that artifacting probably more than anything. That's kind of what we're trying to clean up, is just the artifacting in this little process. And you know, many times you can solve a lot of problems fairly easy to make things a little bit cleaner just by doing this simple little technique. I know that it probably doesn't make sense now, but trust me, when you go to work with like pillars and stuff like that, just like yesterday's show, it really helps because you can clean up around pillars quite a few times and do different stuff like that. Okay, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to take a look at what we got. And she's doing the bottom. Look at that. All right. Zero's good. Let's see where we're at over here on Grim. Grim's looking really good. He's all flattened out. Thornbrier's looking good. Chrysor's looking really good over here too. Taladorn's looking good. Natica's looking good. And I think Landy's trying to get her stuff up off the ground so she can see underneath of it. So we're going to give her a little bit. Go for it there, Landy. Rhapsodistic's looking good over here. And could join us. Yours needs to go over probably on the bottom. Just kind of tilt your camera down under here and drag it across that bottom as well, and that should clean that up there. Could join us. And yeah, the hard part is getting underneath of it, but Keone and Aylwin's looking good over here. Caledonian's looking good. Yeah, you're going to need to be underneath of it there. Trust me, you get that underneath there, it'll clean that little spot up too. Hey, it doesn't have to be perfectly all the way across. Even if it's at a slight little angle, it'll still clean that up there. And I think your line tool was just a hair off there, Caledonian. Just cut it and raise it up off the ground just to make it a little bit easier for yourself. Control Z out of that and raise it up and hit it. Ren Falcon's looking really good over here, and Warvok is well on his way. Look at that, it's cleaning right up. Tap it once on the bottom there, Warvok, and you'll be good. Healy's looking really good over here. We got a little bit of deformations on this side, but that side there is looking really good. And back to Thornbriar again, I think, and we're good. So, and Grim is looking good. So, very nice job, guys. It's just about playing with it. Learning how to use some of the tools that we have to kind of fix little issues that we kind of come around. And a lot of times you'll see these exact little deformations when you're doing stairs. I don't know why, but they happen, and it's a big pain in the ass. But it's something that kind of comes about from doing that kind of stuff. So, but once everybody is kind of finished what they're doing here and has finished their thing, just kind of stop doing anything there. That way I can find out who still needs some help. And we'll move on to the next little section, okay? Okay, wait a minute. See, Teledorn. Yeah, if I like doing the front first, and then once I go over it 2 or 3 times, I'll hit the top. And usually if I hit the top, it'll clean it up. But if it doesn't, I can go underneath and clean it up. There's a lot of times if you've already got voxels all the way around it, you'll have a step that does like this, or something like that, okay? Basically, you hit this face, then you hit this face, which is at the bottom. And basically what it'll do is if it has like a slight little change in its shape, it'll literally do this with it and literally give it that straight 90-degree angle. It's really weird, but trust me, play with it. You'll see what I'm talking about. And that's kind of what I'm kind of doing right now. Is just showing these techniques and some of the things you can kind of do with it. I mean, I'm pulling these things out of my head pretty quick here, so, but I think we're good. Now, yeah, we're at this kind of a point, so let's go ahead. We're going to delete this because we're done with these. We don't need this anymore. And just clear out all your stuff. You won't need these anymore. This is just showing that kind of a technique to be able to clean up some of those little areas that you may be having problems in. And a lot of the stuff that I'm pulling out is from my walk around on several claims yesterday. Things I saw, little stuff that can be cleaned up very easily. Some of that little fine detail work, and this way it'll help make your builds look a lot cooler in the process. So the next thing we're going to kind of go over here is how to make a pillar. And everybody kind of knows, I've got that pillar board out there, and I'm going to show you basically how I made that pillar board, and in the process that I went about. Okay, so we're going to make a 9 by 9 by 20 little pillar here, and I want you to fill this up with wood of some sort. Doesn't matter what kind, just kind of pick a wood and just kind of run with it. I think I'm going to fill mine with plain wood. I don't have a lot of materials on this character, so what I have to work with, we're just going to have to work with. You know, this is my old character, but you'll kind of see what I'm kind of getting at here, okay? But yeah, just keep it selected, but just fill it up. Yeah, those little details. You'll be able to clean up some of that stuff. Yeah, it's very meticulous, but it does clean up a lot of problems, and it'll really make your build really stand out. I used it a hell of a lot when I was building that Dark Elf Tower, and if you guys want to read that write-up, feel free to go through the Dark Elf Winners, and you'll see what they said about it. Trust me, you know, having people say that kind of stuff about your build is, you know, pretty awesome. Now, I'm pulling this out for some reason, I don't know why, but I want you to raise the bottom up 1 voxel, 1 single voxel, and I want you to shrink the top down 1 voxel. So we literally have a selection that looks like this. Okay? We're going to make this type of a selection on this pillar that we have created, okay? And it looks like everybody's kind of catching up to where I'm at here. All right, waiting on Chrisor and Lindy. And A1 back there, and Hilly's catching up now. And to make a selection of something like this a lot easier, just hang tight a second, just leave it there. Take your selection tool, grab this corner, and drag it to this opposite corner. And then all we got to do is pick up the bottom and top there. Okay? Yeah, feel free to grab a spot up top, because there's a second floor up there. If you're, you know, wanting to be here with us, feel free to come and still kind of jump in here with us or whatever. I mean, I've got a second floor up there if you want to be a part of it. Okay? And Chris Orr, you good? Okay, Chris Orr's catching up right quick. And as soon as Chris Orr's ready, we're going to be kind of rolling out, and it looks like everybody is on cue. Now we're going to go back to our smooth tool. We'll close this material window here. Take that smooth tool, and we're going to just start hitting it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. Let me take a look at it right quick and make sure I'm good. We might have to go more than that. That's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Let's go with 21. I think that'll be good for right now. So 21 times, and we should be set. Okay? And I'll let y'all kind of catch up to that. 21 times with the smooth tool, just straight up. Okay? Well, that's the good thing about having everybody in their own section. As long as we're not working in the same section, we're usually really good. Yeah, and Chris Orr's having a little problems right now. It seems like he just crashed. So we did finally have a crash there. But that is a lot of stuff going on at one time. So, you know, it's all good. And I think we'll give Chris Orr a moment to see if he can get back and join us. And Ren's already kind of up to the next level already. You know, he's seen me do this like a million times, so Ren's all over it back there. But we're basically waiting on Chris to come back in, and I'll kind of continue on, okay? There he is. He's back. So let's give him a moment to kind of catch up to where we're at. And but basically, we're making pillars, and we're going to make pillars that look good. Okay, we're not looking at, you know, just something that we just popped in there. You know, we want it to look all peachy dandy and awesome. You know, so and we're going to let Chris catch up here, and it shouldn't take him time. 21 times with the smooth tool there, Chris Orr. Now, if you notice, I'm on a 9x9. Okay. Now, that size is not set in stone. It can be bigger, it can be smaller. It's whatever you're going to do with your pillar and how big you want it. Okay. And I just went with a 9x9 by 18 here, and a smooth tool does act flaky sometimes there, so I don't know why it does act. It has acted really weird lately. Like sometimes you'll try to use it and it does nothing. I have had that happen before. It looks like he is on cue now. Once he gets his 21 smooths, we'll be up to par, and we'll kind of carry this over to the next little section. And I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of manipulation with it. And this is kind of a retake of what we did yesterday over at one of the viewers' claims. And I kind of showed him how to do this little process, how to make really good looking pillars, and how to work with them a little bit. All right, and I think a Countess can kind of take care of you there, Apothecary. And but we're at this point, okay? Now, take your selection tool again, and we're going to shrink down into the center right here. And I'm going to bring this other section to it like that. So we're going to have this here, okay? And that's all we want. Out of this whole entire stack, the only thing we want is that center piece, okay? So do a Control C to copy. And then we're going to select we're going to drag all this back up, and we're going to delete this whole entire stack like so, okay? And we do a Control V, and I'm going to pop this over here in the corner so you can actually see how clean that disc looks. I mean, look at this. Look how clean that comes out. You can make a wheel, you can make whatever out of it, okay? But what we're going to be doing is we're going to stack this. Just one right on top of the other. And the easiest way to do a stack is always make sure that your mouse pointer is not near whatever it is that you're stacking. That way all you got to do is do a mouse roll and just go up like this. As long as your mouse is away from whatever that item is that you're stacking. You can see it kind of acts funky if you move your mouse at all. We're going to stack this up a few times. Lots going on right now, so be wary. Somebody might end up crashing in the process, but we're going to kind of keep on trucking here. But you can see how clean that pillar comes out, right? And this is pretty much exactly how I made that one board. But I literally made several stacks, and each stack was just a little bit smaller than the next, and I just kept shrinking it down. Yeah, the mouse is very important. Keep that away from whatever it is that you're moving, because as long as you leave that alone, all you have to do is just slightly roll the mouse wheel and just stack over and over and over and over again. And it will keep that thing from jumping. It's a pain in the butt because you got to get it put where you need it first. But as long as you can keep it away and keep them separated like that, all you got to do is like mouse wheel, mouse wheel, mouse wheel, and it'll just keep going, stacking up. Okay? What's up, donkey? Now we have this. Now this is a very kind of leads into the next little section here, and it looks like Healy wanted to give me a copy of her disc over there. It's cool. Let's go. So I need to delete that out, because if I don't, then I'll lose my original disc. And I like keeping copies of my original, because if I don't, there's a chance that I could have problems. So I want to keep a copy of the original piece, because if I do screw something up, then I have something to kind of roll back on, you know, just so that I have something extra in the back. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to make a selection of the very top of this, like this, and make this a little wider. Thanks, Entity. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. But I want you to literally grab each side and just make a big, like, box. Better yet, just grab the bottom floor and make sure that the box is bigger than what you're actually working with. Something like this. And just make sure it's bigger than your pillar. And I want you to drag this up to the top of your actual pillar. Something like that. Okay? I want you to hit your shift and just drag it off to the side here. And I want you to fill it with something else other than you would, because I want you to be able to see what this thing is doing in the process. And I think I'm going to grab this gray down here, if it'll let me. Okay, but I'm going to go back to my add tool, and I'm going to fill that selection in with something else. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag that all the way down to the floor again. And I'm going to fill it in there as well. Like that. Okay. So we have those two kind of a stack here. You know, that way we have one for the top, we have one for the bottom, and I can take a copy of that right there and put it in as I want to. Okay. And now we're going to make a copy of the cylinder. And just make it the size that you need here, like so. We're going to make a copy. Control C, Control V, and we're going to just make it hovering like this. Okay. So when you get to this point, we will be pretty much set down to what we need. Okay. That height doesn't have to be exact, as long as those two panels are separated and as long as the panels are bigger than your pillar that you're working with. Okay. All right, and as soon as everybody kind of gets to where I am, we'll be good. I think 0 is trying to catch up. Zero is pretty much on cue here, so we're good. And she's copying out and whatnot. Let's see. It's a lot of people, and I'm trying to watch everybody and make sure everybody's on cue here. So yeah, this Illy, this is a freaking awesome game. And if this is the first time you've seen this, this is literally mind-blowing. that some of the stuff that can be done in this game. They've literally turned this into a sandbox, and they're using the sandbox for the basis for an MMO, which that MMO is going to be EverQuest next, which is, it's going to be pretty awesome when they finally do get that finished. And I'm headed to SOE Live this coming week, and literally I can't wait to see what they've come up with, because I'm going to be able to see some of the first released stuff for EverQuest next, get to see it before anybody else does. It's going to be just pure wickedness. We're going over Timma's basics. We're not going over the basics of the basics, but we're going over Timma basics. So what I think is very important to learn in various different aspects or whatever, okay? And looks like everybody is pretty much on cue where I am. So just make sure you get a copy of your pillar after you make your little platforms. That's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah, Karain is, you know, they're my foot. they're the foot that gets placed in the buttocks. Yeah, I run DeepBot, and I run ModBot as well, but I've turned down a lot of my settings because, you know, most of the people that are here and that watch me are people that are already in the game, and they're wanting to learn other stuff. And my viewers, you know, they're not a bunch of douchebags. They're really honest and awesome people, and that's what I like about the people that kind of hang out with me. So, but you know, my mods, they take care of the trash. They're pretty on top of that kind of thing. So, okay, so everybody's here now and gotten pretty much where I am. Now I have this selection and I have my two panels, right? And you can see I can move this up, move this down, and all that kind of stuff. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it about center. I'm going to hold shift and click. And if you notice right here, it says paste with air voxels. Okay, and I'm going to leave that checked so you can see what happens. I want you to check that. And if you look at this top section here, you see how it's got holes in it, right? Well, this is something that we had in alpha. This is what you'd always run into. You'd chop holes in the stuff, and there was no way to fix it. And they got around to making it where we could paste with air, which was just a freaking awesome and stuff, right? So let's hit Control Z, and we're going to back out of it. Control Z and back out. And so right here, we're back to where we were before. But this time, right here where it says paste with air voxels, I want you to uncheck that. And I want you to hit the checkbox. Now, if you notice how clean this thing kind of comes out now, okay? It's literally smooth. And it's literally inset into that wall, and it looks really good, okay? Okay, and so we have that, okay? We literally have all this very prettiness kind of going on, right? Now, I've seen it where people put in the pillars and then they put in their little platforms. Now, this is what happens when you put a platform or a floor or a ceiling after you put a pillar. You get this. You get this really funky looking bottom part, and that's because of dominance. And basically whatever comes last has dominance, and that's right the opposite of what we had down before when I was showing you putty voxels. The putty voxels don't have the dominance. Now if I back up here, and I did a Control Z to kind of back up, so we put it back here. Now if I had this, I could literally surround this whole entire thing with with that putty voxel that we made earlier, and I can literally put rings around this in that same kind of aspect, right? So that's working with pillars and fixing pillars and all that kind of stuff. Now sometimes putting this in, it comes in clean, but a lot of times you'll have this little deformation or this artifacting that happens at the bottom. How do you think we fix that? Well, that's when you go back to your line tool, make it a little big, sit it in there, drag it across, and click, and boom, it'll clean these up. And just do an X from one side to the other, and it'll clean up those little deformations at the bottom. But that's some of the stuff that can be fixed with the line tool, just like we did before, you know, cleaning up that little box. Okay, now, but that's pretty much what we're doing with cylinders and being able to clean up little pillars and all that kind of stuff, right? And but that's the pretty much definitive guide on, you know, how to work with those cylinders and all that kind of good stuff. And I pretty much have everything I need and have done what I need to do with this. So once everybody is comfortable with that, we're going to move on. Once you're happy with what you have created, we're going to delete that, and I'm just going to kind of run around, see what everybody's done, make sure it's all clean looking over here. And everybody's looking good. I mean, he's testing out his line tool, and Caledonian's looking good over here. You see that? That's what I was talking about right there. You put that in as a solid afterwards, and you get that really ugly looking top piece. And like I said, it's all about the dominance and how one voxel reacts to another, you know. Now, I'm going to go to one other thing, because this right here leads into how microvoxels work, how things react to microvoxels and all that kind of stuff. So once you get to where you're good, clear out your boxes, and we're going to move on to a little bit of microvoxel work and understanding why things screw up. I forgot that, Crane. I forgot. Back up. Let me bring my stuff up. Y'all can delete. Y'all can delete all your stuff. Just watch me on screen and you'll kind of get what I'm talking about here. Okay? And I'm going to come in here. I'm glad Crane reminded me. But this here. I brought my stuff back so I can show you this right quick. And say you have a screwed up pillar like this. Okay? And it looks like poop. Okay? There is a way to fix this that is fairly simple. It's nothing major, but this is as long as you have a cylinder that has been made clean. In other words, if I look at this disc over here, it's clean. It's got a flat top and a flat bottom. If you have a cylinder piece that looks like this that has jagged areas on it, it's not going to come out clean. And that's why I kind of tried to show you my way of doing it, of making cylinders, because it'll help you make really clean cylinder slabs and pieces and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but what we're going to do is I'm going to copy out a section in the center, and if I bring this up here and I look at it, you can kind of see it's flat, it's clean, it looks like a disc. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that cylinder that I just copied out, and I'm going to drop that in right at the very top. I'm going to drop it in, just scroll it down to the bottom. I'm going to paste there, and I'm going to scroll it up to the very top, and I'm going to paste that one there. And look at that. I've just cleaned up that messed up pillar at the same time. And that's what Kareem was just kind of wanting me to point out. I did forget about that, and I'm glad she kept me on track on that. And she don't even know my schedule. She don't even know what I'm doing, but you can tell she knows her stuff too. So, you know, that's why she's a mod. All right, because she's awesome that way. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go into microvoxels and why things screw up. And I like that. I like that name. And this is kind of how this kind of like all pans out. You're working on something and you start doing microvoxeling work and you put it next to something and all of a sudden everything looks like poop. And the question is, why does it look like poop? And that's because of proximity and dominance. And I know these are probably flying over your head like, what the hell is this? You know, proximity and dominance, okay? I'm going to set up something right here right quick, and you don't have to make these. You can just kind of watch me on screen, but you can if you want, if it's, you know, kind of fits your fancy. And I'm going to put up some voxels here, just a few of them, and we're going to kind of play with this at the same time, and you're going to see some really cool things that happen. Okay, and give me a second here. I'm going to paint these so you can see it, because I know it's not very easy to see that kind of stuff on screen. But I have 3 voxels here. Okay, what's up, Dennis? And the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to select this first one and I'm going to smooth it. And I'm going to smooth it 2 times just to make it into a micro voxel. And basically that's taking that voxel and shrinking it down so it's smaller. Now you would think that you'd be able to use that as something, right? But the thing is, you can, but you can only use it around stuff that's the same size. But if you take that and you put it something that's near a regular voxel, that voxel is going to react to that microvoxel in one way or another. Now I'm going to set up something here, and hopefully this will make sense once I get it in there. And I think I need to put one more of these out here just in case. And basically you have this. This is what I like to call a prime voxel, or a default voxel, as Birch Star likes to call it. It's a unchanged, unmanipulated voxel that has been placed by a player. It's a default prime voxel. Okay, and this of course is the microvoxel that we made before. And let's paint. I'm going to paint one of these a different color, because I want you to see the differences in between this when I go to paste one next to the other and then take that one and paste it next to something else. Okay, and I'm going to take this microvoxel, copy it, and I'm going to paste it right over here. Hopefully I can get this thing in order. Get in there. There we go. So there we go. We have this kind of a setup, you know, just so that I can play with stuff, you know. And now if I take that microvoxel and I paste it near a prime or a default voxel that has not been manipulated at all, you'll see this happen. And hopefully I can get it lined up and I don't look like a fool in the process. Go, Betty, go. There we go. We're right next to that voxel. So let me bring it to the side of it. And you notice that when I pasted in that microvoxel, you see what happened. It literally, that voxel that was already existing reacted to what you pasted next to it. In other words, this voxel went and connected to it. Okay? Now, what happens when you do the opposite? What happens when I take a prime voxel, which is like this, or a default voxel, and I paste it next to a microvoxel? Something different happens. The microvoxel and connects to the prime. So literally, that's the two things that's going to happen in this. Is one voxel is going to react to another one, okay, and it's going to happen in one way or the other. And this is why you get things that look messed up in the game when you're playing with things that have been smoothed and you try to put something next to something else. It's this. It is that dominance and that reactivity, and because of the proximity of the two items next to each other and which one comes in before the other. Now, but this is why things screw up. This is exactly why things screw up. And if I come over here and let me paint this so you can see that voxel, and literally the two different versions of it. We have a prime that we pasted a micro next to. Then we have a micro that we pasted a prime next to. So it's like one or the other. But this is why things mess up. Okay? Now, if I take this micro and I paste a micro that is the same size next to it, and if you give me a moment, guys, I got to fight with this to get it where it needs to be because my depth perception really sucks balls and all that kind of stuff. Okay, there we go. Now if I take a micro and I put it next to a micro and let me paint, you'll see that this is the one that existed, and I pasted in this other micro earlier a while ago, right? If you notice what existed attached to what we pasted in, that is that dominance. It's because this one was dominant, it's going to retain its shape. I am dominant, I'm going to keep my shit, okay? And that is exactly why voxels react the way they do when you paste other stuff next to it. Now, if I take that same thing, let me bring this back in here, and hopefully I can get it lined up fairly quickly here. There it is. And if I paste that on the other end, what do you think is going to happen? Well, it goes down to dominance. If I paste on this other side, that white one should go this way. Just like that. Okay? So literally, it's all about which one you paste in last. And the only thing, and the only exception to that rule is the putty voxels, because it literally, whatever's already there, it'll retain its shape, and the putty will go and it will do the attaching. Okay? Now, but these are things to kind of keep in mind when you're playing with the voxels and why things screw up. And I like to call this magnetism. The smaller something is, the more magnetism it has, you know? All right, take it easy, Healy. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time. Now, if I take a prime and I put a prime next to a prime, you see there's no change. That's because they are both the same size and the same shape and all that kind of stuff. But you can manipulate these voxels into different shapes because of this type of reaction. And that kind of goes into voxel reactors and that sort of thing. And a reactor is basically a 3 by 3 by 3 set of voxels with everything cut out but the corners. And if I hit X, and I'm going to make one of these right quick, we're just going to make one just like that. That is a reactor right there. A 3 by 3 by 3, and the only thing we have is corners. Just like that, see? But that is a reactor. Now, what I want to do is whatever is I am working on is going to go into that very center part, okay? So let me change my color here so you can see this. But I'm going to drop in this voxel into the very center. Okay? But that right there is the voxel I am going to manipulate in some form or fashion. Okay? Now, if you notice that I made this little section right here earlier, right? Well, I can use that to manipulate that voxel that I have in here. I can push, I can pull, I can do all that kind of stuff just with this voxel. These two voxels that I have here, these two micros. I'm going to grab just the little square, the little teeny square that we were working with earlier. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it in some of my corners of this. And because of that dominance and how things react with other things, you can start manipulating a voxel and making shapes that you could not make before elsewise. I mean, look at that. I can make, you know, just a little, I don't know, plant pot or something, okay? And that's just by using one. Now, if I put a microvoxel in all 8 corners, I create what is called a megavoxel. And a megavoxel can be used for all different kinds of things. Definitely check my YouTube website and you will find all kinds of megavoxel stuff that you can do in there, like how to create walls and bricks and all this other kind of stuff, right? But I'm just showing you the basics on how to do that manipulation. Over here, if I select that voxel, notice this really close here. If I zoom in, you can see that white voxel is literally outside of the voxel space. So it's been manipulated as well. If I copy that, what happens when I put it into the same locations as this here? And I'm going to do some mirroring using my V key. I can start doing stuff that I couldn't do before either. And let me bring this over here. So now I've done this with it. Just slight little changes, and then I can also copy these ones on the top. If I want the bottom to look the same, I copy the ones on the top. And I paste that in and I drop it to the bottom and I make a panel. I can make all the different kinds of stuff with this and different shapes, and just all you're doing is pulling and pushing using other voxels because of that dominance. And this is how I make my walls. This is how I make all the little teeny bickery bits and stuff for Landmark. This is how we do the voxel manipulation. This is kind of goes into what people call voxelmancy, and being able to create other shapes that you normally couldn't do before. So, but this is that exactly how you do that type of manipulation. It is, I don't think it's brain, I don't think it's like brain surgery or rocket science. It's, I have dominance over whatever I sit next to, okay? And because I do, it reacts to me. So that's exactly how these voxels work and how you can manipulate other voxels to do what you want them to do. It takes a lot of playing. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work to understand it. There's a lot of it I do not understand. To literally make minute little changes between one and another, it takes a lot of tinkering. And it's not easy, but I wanted to show you this because it leads into the basics, and literally, how can I make something do what I want it to do? And this is exactly just a small little demonstration on what you can do to create other stuff that you couldn't do before. Now, with this panel that I created, just by playing around with these little microvoxels, I can do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I can now. Notice the size of that little square. There is always, if I paste this down like this, look at the gap size. It is exactly the same height as the little square I had up there. So you can kind of see, what I've got here. I can literally make these little panel walls, that look really cool. Look like, modern time thing stuff, right? And so I can do this, and then that also goes into my megavoxel walls. I mean, you can literally make bricks out of these panels, right? So let me bring this over here. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. We can drop this down and we can start making bricks and such. It's all about how you could play with things and get it to do what you want it to do. A lot of developers don't like my teaching because they say it's too advanced. You're teaching too advanced stuff. I'm like, well, if you, it's like paintball, it's like baseball, it's like basketball. You take a guy off the street and you put him in with a pro basketball player and you let him play against that guy for a month. That guy off the street will play just as good as that pro basketball player, just like any other player that he already plays against. It's because they play at a pro. They play at a pro level, and if you play at a pro level, even if you suck, you're going to improve. Okay, and it works the same way with paintball. It works the same thing with baseball, basketball, and anything else you do. If I had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, giving me lessons, do you think eventually I'd be as good as him? Right? And if I show you things at an advanced level, you'll pick it up. You'll learn things that are a little bit more advanced. Like, oh, that I can use that. I can use that to fix my problems. So, and yes, I do. I try to teach it in a understandable way, if at all possible. I mean, I am not the most affluent person in the world. I have that redneck slang, but I try to break it down into something that you know about. Like, about gravity. You know about, magnetism. And, well, all that kind of stuff you can relate to that, to something that's inside the game. And I'm really hoping that has helped you guys in some form or fashion. It is a short little class, but hopefully you kind of learn something in the process. But yeah, there's some of the devs, they don't like my way of teaching because they think that I'm trying to teach it, like way too advanced or something. But I do make the videos on my YouTube channel. I mean, if you miss something, at least in a video, I can go back and relook at it, Natica said that redneck slang makes it easier for them to understand. Yeah, I mean, it's all about how you kind of approach it. I mean, don't ever think that something is over your head. Because as soon as you get that in your head that it's over your head, you have just defeated yourself. Like, literally, you have just defeated yourself by saying that you can't do it. And all it takes is just driving forward. Eventually, there will be something that literally, it'll pop. And you'll be like, oh, Yeah, I love doing this kind of stuff, guys. I really do. I mean, I'm a college graduate. My degree is in IT. I have 7 certifications in IT. I was a certified EMT at one point in time. I was an airborne medic. I jumped out of planes for a living. I plug bullet holes for a living. I used to be a roofer. I used to be a cable guy. I used to be a carpenter. I grew up in a family of carpenters. And so that's like pretty much my background, I even worked at a place called Winn-Dixie when I was in high school. I used to be a bag boy in high school. And I mean, I worked in the meat department for a while. I was a bag boy. I was a stock clerk. I mean, I did like all that old stuff, right? I am 39 years old. I'm 39 years old, and I've done a lot in my short little period of life, and I love it. I love life. 15 months in Iraq really made me appreciate life. So, yeah, perfectly good plane, and I had to jump out of it. Darn right. All right. I'm going to show you something. Let's do one more thing, and I know that was kind of the end of the class, sorta, for what I was planning on, but I'm going to go back to that microvoxel, and I'm going to make a box. I'm skipping 2 voxels and clicking skipping 2 voxels and clicking, skipping 2 voxels and clicking. And I'm going to do this in basically into a shape of a square. Okay? So now I know the shape that I'm creating, which is this 8-sided square. Okay? Now I'm going to go in those spaces between it, and I'm going to paste in a voxel each time. And if you notice, that little corner, this probably isn't the easiest thing to see here, so give me a second. Let me paint this so you can see what I've got here. It'll make it easier to see it on the screen. There it is. And I'll just copy this one. That way we can literally see it here. Now, if I took this here, and I'm going to go back into that same corner that kind of made that little triangle shape here. I'm going to take it back over there and I'm going to paste, and you see it cleaned it up. And this is how you work with microvoxels. You have to kind of repaste back over some of your previously pasted stuff to fix it. Just like that. And you can make some pretty interesting things with microvoxels. You can kind of see what I'm forming up here. I'm literally making a cube, right? And I'm probably like way off base here, but I'm just going to repaste over all those corners to make sure that it's coming out the way I want. And you can literally make chairs, you can make dressers, you can make pretty much anything in your mind just by playing around with some of these little microvoxels. And the microvoxels is just a voxel that's been smoothed down to a smaller size, but you can kind of create stuff that really is pretty intricate all in itself. And this is one of the things that really made this game pop. Like literally you're like, oh my god, I can do that. Oh wow. Exactly. Goes back to the dominance. What has dominance when you paste something in? And that is exactly why you have to repaste in the corners, because it's whatever you pasted last had the dominance. Now if I'm pasting over here and then I paste over here, this one has the dominance, so it's like a back and forth. So Lindy has exactly figured it out, and I am on my alt. It is Timba 2, and I apologize, but this is just me throwing stuff together, okay? Now, check this out. I have made that cage, right? So I have this really cool looking little cage thing here. Well, we're going to go downstairs. And I'm going to go back to my little box here. And I have this, right? I'm going to do this again. I'm going to redo my little heel thing here. I'm going to heel it back to the way it was before. And I'm going to redo my putty voxel. And I'm going to paint this. Let's do... Where's it at? Oh crap, I don't have it on this tune. Okay, not a problem. We'll just use stone. I'm going to go with that dark work slate. That'll work. And I'm going to paint that again. And I want to drop it in. And I'm going to copy that center voxel. And let's go back to my microvoxel little square that I created earlier. And I'm going to paste this right into the center. V. And hopefully, and look at that. I have just made this little inset looking thing, and I could probably make walls out of that. Okay? Whatever you can make out of that, you can make it. Just, it's a matter of playing. And the coolest thing about this game is it's not the fact that it's highly technical. Don't ever think, well, it's got too many little parts, it just doesn't work right, I can't get it to do what I want it to do, and all that sort of thing. If it's not working the way you want to, There is always a way to fix it. Always a way to fix that. And it's one of those things where you have to take the time to actually learn how all this stuff kind of works. You know, you have that dominance, you have, you know, like proximity. Now, when I was talking about proximity earlier, now say this right here, this is a voxel, and if you notice, if I take that corner piece, which it should still be a little square, and if I come over here and see if I can get it close enough that it will kind of come out the way I want. If I put it right on the top of it, okay, bam, just like that. I am on Tenma 2. I am not on Tenma. Tenma 2. It's my alt character. If you notice, she has white hair. But if you notice, I pasted right on top of it. Bam. One reacted to the other. Let me go down. And if I paste down here, I've created a bar because the center one is still the one that's being affected. Okay? Now, if I back out and I go to paste this again, but instead of being right next to it, I am 2 voxels away. You notice that nothing happens. You have to be within the proximity, which is 1 voxel away from that voxel for it to react. So that is, you got to keep that in mind. I mean, as long as you keep a 1 voxel gap in between 2 things, they won't react with each other, and that's proximity. And that's because if I put something close enough to something else, it will react, and if I keep it apart, then it can't react. It's very simple. It's nothing major, but keep that in mind when you're kind of working with your, kind of like this here. You know, there is a 1 voxel gap in between this side and this side and this side and this side. But if I had something in the center, it would go like this. Exactly, a 3 by 3 by 3 proximity. And it's whatever is in that center is going to react to everything that's around that outside. And it kind of goes back to that reactor that we made earlier. Everything is 3 by 3 by 3 when it comes to proximity. And it's amazing some of the stuff that you can do with working with the microvoxels. It's, you know, don't be scared to go in there and fuck shit up, okay? And that is, I know that is harsh, and I know that is very blunt, but trust me, the more you F things up, the more you're going to learn. And it's, to me, you know, when I was, you know, trying to learn computers and all that kind of stuff, none of it made sense, and I literally messed up my first 2 or 3 computers. Just burned them up. I burned up like my first 2 or 3 computers because it was me screwing around trying to figure out how they worked. But, you know, here I am now. I have a degree in them and 7 certifications hanging on the wall back there for computers. And but the more you kind of play with something, it will come together. It will snap and pop and all that kind of good stuff. All right, not a problem, Taladorn. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. It's been a lot of fun. You know, I don't stream in the morning normally. I usually stream at nighttime, Eastern Standard Time. It's just one of those things where today I wanted to do, you know, this week and probably next week I'll be doing daytime shows as well. How long I'm going to be doing it, I don't know. But when I am on, I want you guys to be a part of it. I want you guys to kind of come over and we're gonna F things up. Okay, we're gonna do some experimentation, just playing around with things. Okay, and we're definitely this afternoon. There is a patch that's coming in this afternoon, and I'm going to be forming a group in game. If you want to be a part of it, definitely get up with me after the patch. We'll get you into the group and all that kind of good stuff. And, you know, we're going to build some stuff. We're going to make big stuff. I'm talking about mind-blowingly big stuff when they finally give us the chance to make group claims and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing freaking awesome big builds. I mean, that's what I like. I like big stuff. And if that Karen back there doesn't tell you I like big stuff, then I don't know what else does. All right. So yeah, nobody wants to be in my group. Nobody likes me. But for those of y'all that are coming to SOE Live, I will be there. Definitely, if you see me, come talk to me, come hang out with me. We're going to have a lot of fun at that place, and it's going to be really cool. I'm going to show you something that that Rave showed me last night, and it blew me away. I thought it was so freaking cool, and I'm going to show you guys right quick, and then I'm going to take a break for a while, and we're going to be doing something later. Definitely, if you're not following the channel, hit the follow button, because I am getting close. And when I say close, I am getting really close to giving out another Trailblazers pack, another $100 Trailblazer pack. And like literally, when I say close, I mean really freaking close. I'm talking like 27 followers away from giving out a Trailblazers pack. Hell, it's less than that. It's 17 followers away from a Trailblazers pack. I just looked at my numbers here. When I hit 950 followers, we're going to be giving out the Trailblazers, and that is the big package for the game. So, and I'm doing this every 50 for right now, until I hit 1,000. So 950 and 1,000, we're giving out Trailblazer packs. It's, you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun. I've got, you know, quite a bit of keys and stuff like that to give away, and yeah, we're just going to have a freaking blast. The game's awesome, and I'm glad you guys can be in here and be a part of it with me. So, yeah, but I don't know when this patch is going in. I really don't know. I know it's coming soon, TM0153. And if you don't know what 0153 is, press your Alt key and then type 0153 in a checkbox. 0153. I'm going to type this out so you can kind of see it. And just like that. And I sent that to Dave, and I was like, yeah, don't ever do that again. If you're going to say soon, you got to put the TM after it. And and I was like, Alt 0153. And yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him actually use it. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? So I think that's pretty. Oh yeah, I was going to show you that. Sorry guys, sidetracked as usual. I'm going to make a wall like so, and I'm going to bring this wall up. Okay, this is something that Rave showed me yesterday, and I was like, holy crap, that's wicked. And like seriously, I was like totally blown away to this. So I'm going to make a wall. Okay, and I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to make it big like this, and I'm going to click there, and I'm going to bring it down to something like this, and I'm going to click. Now I'm going to copy this right here like so. We're just going to select and copy just that right there, and if I can grab it, we'll be good. I'm going to hit copy. Now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to delete the wall, because we don't need the wall anymore. It's not needed. It's gone. Just like that. Bam. Gone. Now, I have this thing saved to my clipboard now, right? It's like instant stairs. It's like freaking awesome stuff. Now, if I take this and I'm going to basically put it right on top of the one I had before, I'm going to go backwards one voxel, and I'm going to basically hit shift click, and right here where it says remove voxels, we're going to click that and we're going to hit check. Look at that. We got instant steps. Now if that doesn't, you know, float your fancy, then yeah. Spooty Man's up in the house, and of course, as we normally do, we're going to roll over into Spooty. So Spooty Man's working on a ogre, and he's making an ogre, big old Goliath Colossus thingy. And so we're going to be rolling over into Spooty, and Spooty's going to be literally, we're going to just jump from this channel over to Spooty's channel, and we're going to hang out with him and let him do his show. So, man, it's really cool stuff, right? Man, I swear, well, sometimes these things come out looking different, but if you notice, just taking one of them, you can copy out one of them and just put one down, go over, go up, put one down, over one up, over one up, and it, from what I understand, it doesn't matter the angle, by the way. Oh, you don't start for another, okay, another 35 minutes. Okay, so we're not stopping just yet. We're got like 35 more minutes to go, and then we're gonna roll over into Spooty. And so, but you can play around with this, and it doesn't matter the angle, apparently. From what Rave said, you can literally make this thing, you know, like pretty tall, like this. And let's try that. Let's see what this thing looks like, big size. And if I take my line tool like so, we do something like this. Let's come down to the same little spot that we did before, something like that, and I'm going to copy this right here. Spooty Man's my buddy, by the way, and you know, I'm trying to help support his channel. You know, I am kind of in during that daytime fiasco thing kind of going on right now, and we're both going to be at SOE Live, which is really going to freaking be awesome. And copy that section there, and let me delete that wall because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to paste this right on top. This is something that Rave showed us last night, and I thought it was like, holy crap, that's wicked, and I couldn't help it. I had to show this off to you guys. So there we are. We're right on top of it, like so. And my stuff's a little off, but I'm going to go backwards one voxel. You can go backwards two voxels. Now if I go back two, you can see it literally makes steps. But if you go back just one, I'll say I did it wrong. I forgot to remove voxels. Oops. So we go back one voxel and we hit check. So we got something else going on here. It looks a little odd. Definitely different than what we had before. I guess the angle does kind of matter a little, but I thought it was kind of cool just because it did some funky stuff, right? And let me back out of this, and let's go back two voxels. And remove voxels, yep. So we're getting some really cool shapes in the process here. But hey, play with it. The one he did last night was really literally came out exactly in a row, and I think it was because he was at an exact 45 or something. Whew. Just like that, guys, just like that. And like I said, I think my angle is off too. It is. Look at that. You can see I'm like totally off of my angle. Let's back up. Let me see if I can fix that. Let's go with this right here, and I'm going to just make this at an angle. You can see it's yellow, it's green, yellow, it's green. If it's green, we're good. So pop that in here like that. Let's try that again and see if that fixes it. All right, and grab our top corner. We'll come down to the bottom. Like so. We're going to hit copy. We're going to hit paste. shift click, and I'm in position now. I'm one voxel behind it, and I'm going to hit remove voxels, and we're going to hit check. Apparently my angle just sucks at it or something, but literally that thing came out pretty awesome last night, and literally it came up with this like the funky pattern. I think my angle is just too steep maybe, but it literally came out like single one at a time. It was looking really freaking cool, and you literally could walk up it. And I'll just have to show that video again, save it as a